was bitches out hit me a lot. Like damn, she in her mood. 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 She lit, get money too. Like damn, she in her mood. No friends, I don't fuck with them.
And I have the time. I just sleep through it. And a lot of the times we know what we should do, but we also know what we want to do. The person you want to be is right outside of your comfort zone. You're almost there. Hey y'all, it's your girl Kay, but you call me Casey May, and may God bless you for bringing you my way. Don't forget to drop a like, comment a heart, and subscribe to my channel. Not only will it help me out with the algorithm, if I'm being honest, I would just greatly appreciate it. Also, while I got you here, follow me on Instagram at itgirlk for more behind the scenes and extra content. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to heal anxiety. And when I say heal anxiety, I don't mean that if you follow this guide step by step that your anxiety is going to be completely eradicated, but I am saying that these are little things that we can do together to begin the process of healing, because I do believe that healing is something that is a lifelong journey. This video was actually inspired by an anxiety attack, and we love that. I was actually just laying in bed with tears streaming down my eyes, thinking about everything that was wrong with me. I'm sharing this video with you guys because I know that if this is something that I'm struggling with, that there are probably hundreds of thousands of even millions of Black girls and Black women who are dealing with something similar. So if you're watching this and you are struggling with your mental battles, I want you to know that despite whatever lies your mind feeds you, whatever past mistakes or embarrassment keep playing, that regardless of all that, you are still wonderful. You are still worthy, you are still brilliant, you are very much loved, and you are very talented. Regardless of whether or not you believe that truth right now, the truth still stands to be true. So why is taking the steps to begin healing your anxiety so important? So what if I told you that the version of yourself that you imagine day in, day out, already exists within you? What if I told you that vision is actually your calling and the only thing holding you back is yourself? Who you truly desire to be is on the other side of everything that you fear, and this is going to be your roadmap to get you there. For the next 30 days from when this video starts, I am going to commit to the following 10 tools to healing, and I hope that you guys can commit too, and feel free to make adjustments based on what makes you feel fulfilled and confident. And yeah, so my first tool to healing is saying 5 affirmations every time I wash my hands. Be mindful of the words you speak because they can either help, heal, or harm people, including yourself. So why am I pairing affirmations with washing your hands? I feel like the more time you say it, the easier it becomes to believe. It's hard to believe something that you only tell yourself once or twice a day. But if I'm washing my hands 5 times a day, saying 5 affirmations, I'm complimenting myself 25 times. Most people don't even compliment themselves once in a day. Even in the Bible, Proverbs 15:4 says, "A gentle tongue is a tree of life, but perversiveness in it breaks the spirit." Proverbs 18:21 says, "The tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences." Matthew 12:36 says, "But I tell you that every careless word that people speak, they shall give an accounting for it in the day of judgment." I've honestly heard a lot of mixed reviews about positive affirmations. Even myself, I had like a negative connotation with positive affirmations, but it wasn't until I realized it was because I wasn't doing it right. And probably neither are you. Key number 1 is to be specific and choose affirmations that align with your desires and your needs. Affirmations should be very personal and very specific to anything that you're struggling with or anything that you want to develop within yourself. The typical "I'm beautiful, I'm smart," those affirmations are cool, but they're not enough to hold weight in your spirit. If you struggle with things like physical insecurity, you could say something like, "I am abundantly beautiful, even when nobody tells me." If you struggle with something like social anxiety, you may say that every person in this room is human, unique, and imperfect, just like me. The second key is to make sure that you're saying your affirmations out loud. One reason I do not pray in my mind, or I prefer not to pray in my mind, I need to get better at praying in my mind, but is because when I do pray in my mind, I be getting the most crazy thoughts mid-prayer. Literally, my mind would be like, "I don't even believe this for real." And I know it's not actually my thoughts. Sometimes your brain just thinks stuff. Your brain main function is to think. So sometimes your brain just thinks random stuff, and that's why it's important not to internalize every thought. But anyways, off topic. But the same way your prayers can be interrupted by counterproductive thoughts when you're praying in your mind is the same way your affirmations can be interrupted by counterproductive thoughts. I might be saying in my mind, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful. But there's also another thought that'd be like, oh, you don't even believe that for real. You're lying to yourself. When you say your affirmations aloud, make sure that you're saying it with conviction and that you're saying it with belief and faith. Because even if you do have a counterproductive thought, it's easier to interrupt that thought when you're speaking out loud. Key number 3 is going to be to live through your affirmations. If someone comes to you and tells you that they're faithful, but their actions say otherwise, do you believe them? You need to hold yourself to the same standard. I can't tell myself that I'm confident in every room that I step in and still act insecure in every room that I step in. If you're going to tell yourself you're confident, you need to make decisions of a confident woman. A confident woman doesn't run away from problems. A confident woman is solution oriented. A confident woman doesn't force a relationship with anyone, friends, family, or partner, because she finds peace in her solitude. A confident woman doesn't give up on her dreams or aspirations. She pivots and finds her own way. You got to think about it. You can either be uncomfortable pretending to be confident as you grow into your confidence, or you could be uncomfortable with anxiety for the rest of your life. Either way, you're going to be uncomfortable, so you might as well choose the path that's going to build you up. And my last key is be consistent and be repetitive. Nothing that lasts is easy, and nothing that's easy lasts. What does that mean? Nothing that is sustainable is going to come instantaneously, and it's not going to come easily. And that's literally the key to anything and everything. Stick to the same 5 affirmations until you truly deep down in your heart believe it. And then also being consistent with your affirmation also helps you build patience and grace within yourself, because hey, maybe I said these affirmations 5 times and I didn't believe it, but I'm going to continue to tell myself this because I deserve it. And I'm worthy of love, even if it's not given to me by other people. My next tool is going to be completing 2 shadow work prompts a week. Shadow work is a tool people use to express that side of themselves that we hide from other people, hence the term shadow self. Shadow work allows space for our embarrassments, our insecurities, our guilty pleasures, our socially unacceptable behaviors, and uncomfortable realities to exist. Shadow work is great for self-reflection and mindfulness. It's great for identifying our shadow traits, but just like positive affirmations, this won't work for you unless you have the keys. And the most important key is to 1, be honest with yourself. And because your journal is solely for your eyes only, there is no reason for you to feel embarrassed or shamed or scared to express anything to yourself. Because whether you like it or not, those feelings that you hide deep within yourself, they're going to express themselves whether you like it or not. And I think a good example of this for all my nerds out there is actually Mob Psycho 100. It's an anime. If you haven't watched it, I loved it. Mob suppresses basically all of his emotions to a point where he'll eventually erupt. And sometimes he erupts to his benefit, but a lot of the times it's at the expense of his loved ones. And the second key is to have a non-judgmental attitude towards yourself. While a lot of our trauma comes from what other people told us initially, we are the ones who reinforce their judgment. Expressing suppressed emotions and suppressed traits about yourself is already anxiety-inducing enough. Don't add another layer to that. And just a tip, if you don't know where to find these journal prompts, Pinterest is always a great place to look. And of course, you can always Google them. My next tool is to start waking up before 7 a.m. every day. The purpose of this is to start a slow day. And again, like I said, you may not need to wake up before 7 every day. It's completely fine to adjust this to your schedule. But if you're anything like me, I hate being rushed in anything I do, but especially first thing in the morning. I prefer to ease myself in the day, even though I have a bad habit of sleeping in. I would prefer to ease myself into the day with prayer and meditation and eating breakfast and, taking my time to care for my body or whatever I feel like I need that day. I would love to take my time. And I have the time. I just sleep through it. So some keys for success for these are to 1, go to sleep at a decent time. You're not going to be waking up at 7 o'clock, 6:30 if you're going to sleep at 3. That means laying down a bit earlier. That means putting your phone away a bit earlier. Personally, I know that I can run off at least 6 hours of sleep and still be efficient, while somebody else may need 8. So again, very much Change anything that you need to change within this guide to fit your lifestyle needs and what works best for you. Key number 2 is to just do it. Sometimes I feel like we always want all these types of hacks for some of the easiest things. Waking up is the easiest part of the day because you got to do it regardless. And the best thing to do to get it out the way is to just do it. Just get up. I like to put my phone in the next room over because that forces me to get up in the morning. I have to get out of bed if I want to turn my phone off. And by the time I get up and I just sit there for a while, I'm like, well, fuck it. Might as well start my day. The next tool we're going to use is spending 30 minutes a day aligning ourselves spiritually. And again, what spirituality you practice, what you believe is going to look different for you. So make sure you align this with your beliefs. But for me, I want to make sure that I'm spending at least 30 minutes a day with God. Obviously, it should be longer. I should be spending a lot more time, especially considering my screen time hours. But we can start with 30 minutes. Spending some time with God is a lot better than spending none. I think no matter what your spirituality is, no matter what you believe in, spending time with the Most High is always going to be important, because at the end of the day, that is a part of cultivating a relationship. And the only way that you can put trust in your Most High is if you build trust up with them through a relationship. If you spend time with anyone every single day, of course you're going to grow to love them. Of course you're going to grow to trust them. Of course you're going to grow to embrace them. And that's exactly what I want to do in my relationship with God. Think about all the amazing things you could achieve if you replaced your anxiety with faith in God and Jesus. And my only key to success for this is to set aside time in advance. We set aside time for anything else we want to do, whether it's cleaning, being on the phone, cooking, reading, YouTube, whatever it is. Set aside time in advance and commit to it. Our next tool is going to be only making decisions that we're 100% confident in. I think a lot of people, especially the girlies in our 20s, we're always so anxious about making the right decision. But one thing I've learned in my 25 years of life is that there's never a right decision. There are ethical decisions, but there's never a right decision. There's things that we should do, but there is nothing that we absolutely have to do. And a lot of the times we know what we should do, but we also know what we want to do. And usually it's the thing that we know that we should do that is the hard thing. It's like, I know I should stop talking to this person. I know I should be doing something else with my time. But it's also like, this stuff is comfortable for me. I enjoy this person's company. The thing we should be doing, typically, deep down, we know will get us the result we want. So fuck it. Do the thing. Even when it's scary, even when it's hard, even when it's new. The person you want to be is right outside of your comfort zone. You're almost there. And the one I shouldn't go with most, our next tool is reducing my screen time. I have a screen time problem. I just be on TikTok and Instagram all damn day. Ain't nothing even going on Instagram. I'll be on there all day. On average, Gen Z spends about 6 to 7 hours on our mobile devices. Can you imagine how much stuff you could be getting done if you transfer that time somewhere else? If you transfer that time into your studies, if you transfer that time into that business plan, if you transfer that time into a book. So my goal for myself, I want to spend at least, I'm at 9 right now. I'm at like 9 hours, 10 hours. I want to cut that in half, like 4 or 5 hours. Our next tool is going to be to plan our weeks out. People with anxiety tend to find comfort in predictability. So knowing what to expect in each day reduces the feeling of uncertainty. Planning out your week is great for a lot of reasons. One is just the fact that you can break down your long-term goals into short-term goals. So if I have a goal for the end of the month, I can break that goal into weekly short-term goals to achieve eventually that long-term goal. It's also great for time management. One thing I really like about Google Calendar is the fact that I can time block my day. So I can say, okay, I'm setting this time period for this activity and this time period for this activity. And I like being able to visually see that. And once I started time blocking, I realized I have a lot more time than I thought I did. I'm just lazy. And for other people who typically have long to-do lists, you might realize that maybe you're putting too much on your plate in a single day. And another reason why planning your week is really helpful is because I noticed for myself personally that when I set aside time to do something, or I set aside a day to do something, I can be more mindful in it. because I know everything that I have to do. So I know that during this time, all I need to do is focus on this and everything else is still going to get taken care of. Another really important tip for me, and a lot of y'all probably, you just need to go to the doctor, is taking your meds and your vitamins. A lot of people's anxiety is due to nutritional imbalances. Low magnesium, low vitamin D, low iron, I'm looking at you, low zinc, low calcium. All of these can be reasons as to why you're feeling more anxious than usual. So definitely talk to your doctor and see if you have any vitamin deficiencies. For me personally, taking my antidepressants is so important. I literally need them. I know a lot of people say that when they take antidepressants, they feel numb. But for me, I actually just feel like my thoughts are quieter, which I don't, that's what I need. I need my thoughts to shut the fuck up sometimes. I like the fact that sometimes I could be thinking not a damn thing. That's not scary to me. I love it. And of course, when you do talk to your doctor and they recommend antidepressants, if you are feeling numb, maybe you just need to switch which type of antidepressants you're on, because not all antidepressants are the same. I've had to switch antidepressants about 3 times until we could find one that made me feel good. So just because one antidepressant doesn't work for you, I don't recommend you giving up. I would just say try talking to your doctor and switching your prescription. And if that doctor doesn't listen to you, get a new one. So for our next tool, it's to use comparison, jealousy, and envy as a tool to your advantage. A lot of people that struggle with anxiety tend to compare themselves, especially their lifestyles or like their life stages, to other people's. You may be anxious because at your age you see your homegirl with a new apartment and a new car or a new boyfriend, and it just looks like their life is so together, but you're at your parents' house and you're like, well, what am I doing? Am I even on the right path? I should be doing what she's doing. Why am I not there yet? You're seeing people achieve things that you haven't achieved yet, and you're questioning if you've achieved anything. But what you didn't notice is that your friend budgeted down to the cent to save up for her new apartment or car. What you didn't see is your friend doing the internal work to find a partner that she can emotionally depend on. You see people's highlight reels, not realizing all the trials and errors they had to go through to get to where they are today. There is no reason for you to feel intimidated by anyone's success. If they worked for it and achieved it, that's just proof that you can work for it and achieve it as well. Use that feeling of jealousy, of envy, of insecurity as fuel to go out and plan, adjust, pivot, to get what you want out of life. And if you want to take it one step further, ask them how they did it. That's how a lot of entrepreneurs get ahead, is by networking with one another and feeding off one another. You never know, that person you're jealous of might just become your life support. And my final tool for healing my anxiety, healing our anxiety, is acknowledging when I feel anxious. I feel anxious a lot, and I try to pretend like I'm not really anxious, but I feel like it's really important for me to give space for my anxiety to exist. Sometimes when my anxiety erupts, all I need is a break. And it's hard to give yourself a break when you're not even taking the time to acknowledge that the anxiety is there. And then when you ignore it, it just starts to build up until you have to acknowledge it. So by understanding and managing your anxiety, you will eventually create a more peaceful and balanced state of mind. Before we wrap everything up, I want to emphasize that healing does not happen overnight. It doesn't happen over the course of a couple of days. It doesn't happen over the course of a week, over months, sometimes not even years. It is a lifelong journey. And you're going to constantly be healing because constantly new traumas or new emotions or, things are just going to continue to happen. So you're going to have to continuously put in the effort to heal. And sometimes that can get exhausting. But every time you fail, it's really important that you get right back up to try again. Again, don't forget to like, comment a heart, and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram at itgirlk. And I will see you guys next time.